A is for Alcoholic is a program about recovery. My name is John and I'm an alcoholic.
And my name is Jerry and I'm an alcoholic.
Join us as we go through the alphabet of alcoholism one letter at a time.
Oh man, yes, the flea circus is indeed.
Flea circus is in town.
Circus is in town.
I just carry all the fleas on myself.
Gross.
Like on my body, on my person. I just pour them in my hair.
No fleas,
No.
please, no fleas. Oh man, it's a beautiful day here in the neighborhood, Jerry. I mean,
in Napa,
in Sonoma, in California,
Sonoma.
we had rain a couple days ago, and the sun is back. It's still cold. I mean, I'm not gonna complain. I know there's people in other places where it's fucking icy. I mean, it's wet up there, right? Yeah.
It's wet up here. Yeah, we had a pretty good windstorm last night. We had sheets rain. I know people are tuning into this do you tune into podcasts?
Sure.
I know people are playing this podcast on their Alexa just to hear us talk about the weather. Alexa, give a weather report.
You got that wet ass precipitation? You got that wop?
Got that wild ass precipitation.
Mm-hmm. No, well, we're not gonna dwell too much on the weather. The weather comes and it goes, and we deal with it. And a great thing, my mom said. She told me, she said, "There's no bad weather, just bad clothes." And I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, that's great. That's
wow. That's a little homespun there. That's a little fucking Reader's Digest right there.
I was like,
dude.
all right, so maybe don't go outside without the right clothes on. And
Exactly.
we can use that in a bigger metaphor if you want.
We can deal with the internal weather in our minds,
Hey man,
let's roll on the clothes metaphor too. I like that.
Well, I mean, what are the clothes that we need to go out in the stormy weather? If we're feeling bad, we need to have the right tools. And I haven't fully fleshed this out. It just occurred to me.
Let's talk about our tools again. I don't think we've really touched on the tools that
Okay.
much. I think if we did a word cloud of this podcast, alcoholic would be like the biggest circle. And then it would be like tools and then the word me. It's so funny.
Right.
But you're absolutely right. We should talk about the ambiguous tools.
The ambiguous tools. So you know what I want to do first, and I know that we don't do it enough, is I just want to let commercials. No, yes.
Better help.
Me undies.
Don't say fuck. Okay.
Don't say fuck. No. So I was thinking about this, and one of the things that is, if you're just tuning into this, if you've just found us, or if
you turn the dial on your
on your frequency modulator,
on your dots in there.
So Jerry and I think the thing that makes this podcast unique amongst the recovery podcasts that are out there, and I've listened to them, and I think there's many, many, many great ones, and a lot of the speaker ones are fantastic. I mean, you were the one who turned me on to a lot of the speaker discussion meetings that were recorded that like really helped me in a way that that I can't imagine anything else doing. But that there's the history that you and I have, that we've known each other since 1996, which seems like fucking eons ago. Is it 96, 97? I don't know. Coffee 96. Corner, 96, something like that. So, and that we drank together for like, I don't know, 15, 17 years or something like that. And Jerry fell into recovery.
Dude, I just stepped in it. It's like shit. Tracked it in the house.
And then I followed suit a year later. I can't believe it took me a whole fucking year. Ugh, that was an awful year.
Hey man, some girls are bigger than others,
Right? Yeah. But and I think that gives this. There's a perspective here that I really appreciate, being able to talk to you about things and not feel like I'm either trying to present myself in a certain way, because I know that happens a lot whenever there's always this sort of, I know I'm doing really good. My recovery's really good. And somebody on Instagram, I posted a picture of the back end of the fruit stand at night that I go to, because
I love it. It's a great fucking picture.
Thank you. Right. And it just struck me, and I was like, oh, and they said, they said something about, oh, it sounds like you got your life together. When you say things like my favorite fruit stand,
Yeah.
like, oh, you got it all dialed in. And then I was thinking like, oh my God, I can give you a laundry list of reasons why I don't have it dialed in and why
Right.
shit is out of whack and why I'm constantly miserable and all that stuff. But I don't feel like I have to front with you, right?
No,
I don't
no,
feel
because
like
I know all the gross shit you've done. Because you know all the gross shit I've done. I know I have a good idea of all the gross shit you've done just this morning. I have a pretty good idea.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm like, where's the there's no pretense with us. I think there is some mild pretense in the sense that we are putting this out for a lot of people to consume. I
Right.
mean, but there aren't it's not like you and I are closet racists. Do you know what I mean? It's not like we have these wild ideals that we're trying to hold back. I think we're pretty
No.
open and honest.
We've been pretty open and honest about Jesus, our last podcast was about the president.
Yeah, dude.
So, which I didn't get any more or less feedback from anybody. I didn't get any more or less downloads. So
yeah, and the thing about the pod is like if you don't want to listen to it, the minute you hear us say his name, you can be like, yeah, I'm not really in on this one. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. So I think that that's one thing that I always like to tell people, if you're just finding this, is that's something unique that we bring there's like 750,000 podcasts out there, and so and that's something that I appreciate about being able to talk to you. And so that being said, and we want to talk about the tools, I do want to today's letter is U. We're already almost to the end of the alphabet. I'm not sure how we're gonna record the last couple. Jerry's gonna be leaving soon.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out, but he's in the process of moving. And I thought you could be undue suffering.
Yeah.
And now, in my own little clever play on words, undue is a homonym. There's UNDUE, which is suffering that you are not due, and then there's undue. UNDO, right? So that
yeah.
I can see.
Sorry, that's some crazy person shit right there, dude. I love it. I had a roommate who would do crazy person shit. So we'd be like, yo, it's all about justified, right? So then we just define ourselves and then we just find who we are. You know what I'm saying? But we also got to justify, and all that comes through the eternal power of Christ. And I'd be like, it was like 22, and I'd be like, I just want to smoke this fucking blunt. Like what? But yeah, so undo, right? The pain is undo, but then we can also undo the pain. You know what I'm saying?
This is what I sit around and think about.
Eating a fucking cold sweet potato. Just
basically, I had one yesterday.
That's a good one. Then you dip in some black bean hummus. That's a good one.
Oh, speaking of which, I think I actually have some black bean hummus in the fridge.
I know
you know me too well.
It's so fucking California now, dude.
Basically. So what are the tools? We love to get into these long conversations about abstract feelings and whatever.
That's recovery, though, dude. It's always this abstract kind of thing, this ambiguous kind of thing. It's like your own journey you have to follow. And I don't know. John and I we don't even want to give you a rough marker. We'll just give you what our rough markers are, and then from there.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's, I was thinking about this too because I was in a Zoom meeting this morning, and everybody has their own different perspective, and everybody has their own like rich, huge life and all their different experiences that have brought them to this thing. And alcohol has this. It's all brought us together in some way, but we all come at it from different perspectives. And, you and I found a program that works for us, but it's not going to do it. It's not going to cut it for everybody. I mean, people have written fucking books against it. People, if you can go Google or, go on YouTube and look up people who are anti-AA, to no end. And, the only thing.
Fuck AA, and there'll be like 100 fucking the orange papers, all that shit. Yeah.
The only thing I would say to that is that these people, I don't know. I just get the feeling that there's some resentment there, and
a ton of resentment. I mean,
I think that for me and for you and for some of our listeners, we all agree that resentment is a problem, and resentment leads to drinking. And even if, say, we don't drink over something and the resentment's there, I'm gonna act out in some way, or I'm going to try and hurt myself in some way, and not like I'm gonna cut myself or anything like that, but I'm just gonna be fucking miserable.
Self-destructive. Yeah.
I'm gonna be self-destructive. So I think that some of the tools that I have found work in dealing with the pain of being an alcoholic and the pain of being sometimes in recovery, being patient is one of those ones. Like, I remember at early sobriety and early recovery being so fucking impatient all the fucking time, wondering when this was gonna be better, when this was gonna be, when I was gonna, when does the epiphany coming, Jerry? Don't leave until the miracle comes. Like, well, Jesus fucking Christ, I don't want to be here anymore.
Right. Just give up the fucking miracle already. Fucking stingy assholes.
Right.
And
So
the coffee sucks.
And as I was writing in my book this morning, in my journal, it's daily incremental change. And so patience is one of the bigger tools that I have learned. And I just didn't have it then. And it's not, you can just collect. It's not a video game where you just, put it in your satchel and move on.
Right. This is funny because I've been at when I think of resentment, I don't think it's natural for a person to not have resentments. I think every single person out there carries a resentment, even the most enlightened fucking AA member floating into the room on 2 big books like the Silver Surfer or some shit. Like, that person has fucking resentments. I guess it's how we deal with those, like how reconcile with those resentments, because I'm full of resentments. I sit here all the time. So I resent this podcast, dude. I hate having to come in here for an hour and talk. What a pain in my ass. Do you know what I mean? I have to really step back and look at the size of that elephant and be like, oh, that's what you're resenting, dude. Think about it on the grand things. Like, you get to talk to your friend for an hour, Jerry. Like, I need to put it in perspective. I think that's one of the tools I use in my resentment. The other thing I was thinking too, as far as like being in recovery, I was talking to my wife about it, and I was like, for me, it's not right now at this point in my life. Do I have it figured out? No, I don't have anything figured out, but I know that my recovery is something that I live with, and I work with it in the sense that if my alcoholism is something I just live with now. It just is what it is. Like, that's just how it is. I broke my leg really badly drunk, like real bad. Like, I have a rod, this, but to give some exposition, I jumped out of a window drunk, fucking around, like not sad or suicidal, just fucking around. And I spiral fractured, compound fractured my right leg. So I had to have a rod put down my leg. And so there's screws holding the rod in place. And if I turn my ankle a certain way, it really hurts. And I just live with that. I'm not trying to turn my ankle that way intentionally anymore to like try to beat it. I just live with it and realize that accommodations need to be made in the way that you're sitting to live with it. And that's how I look at my alcoholism. There's this accommodation I need to make now in my life that I need to understand. Because if I don't understand, then I turn my ankle and it fucking hurts. Do you know what I mean? It just seems like with my alcoholism, the circumstances are much dire that surround it, as far as like the pattern I can get involved in. And that's just is what it is,
Yeah. Well, a couple things. I was just thinking everybody that was involved in that pellet gun fight is now sober, aren't they?
Pretty much. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I think so. Right. Yeah. I mean, as far as we know, the old man has quit drinking. And we know. And was there anybody else there? That was
a guy I worked with, but I'm not really in touch with that guy. And then the guy I was chasing, who I'm also not in touch with. But Coda was sober, and the gentleman gardener was sober. Is sober now. I think he's sober now, from what I hear.
Yeah.
I mean,
right. That's what I've heard too. But also, this thing.
The old man.
I didn't know how. I didn't want to say his name.
The gentleman gardener, dude. He's
the gentleman gardener. My apologies.
It's here to prove your fucking hedges.
Is listening. Also, it's like I can want to try and look through the back of my head, but I'm never going to be able to do it because my eyes are in the front of my head.
Right.
And so I'm an alcoholic. I have this thing inside me. My eyes are in the front of my head. If I want to look behind me, I'm going to have to turn my head, and that's just the way it is. So,
Yeah.
so I'm trying to find a new perspective. I'm trying to deal and struggle with this alcoholism, and we spent so many years hurting ourselves with alcohol. And I keep coming back to one really, really horrible hangover that I can remember from like 2003 or 4.
That's your reference point?
Well, when I think about
One of them?
suffering,
Yeah, absolutely.
and I remember because it was the night before, and we were drinking this homemade absinthe that Big Dave had made in my apartment.
Was I with you?
You might
drank
have
that
been there that night,
yeah.
but you weren't there the next day because I was all alone. So maybe not. But you were there. He had made it many times.
Oh yeah, I drank
With the grain alcohol and the wormwood and whatever else he put in it. I don't know. Yeah, it's fucking disgusting and disturbing, right? But after, I think we streaked throughout the apartment complex. I certainly blacked out, and I just remember waking up and I was throwing up. I couldn't drink water. I couldn't eat crackers, and there was nothing. I literally had nothing in the house to make me feel better. I couldn't get up off the couch other than to like literally crawl to the bathroom. And I'd done it all to myself, and there was nothing to do but wait it out.
Yeah.
I didn't have any painkillers. I would have killed for some painkillers, right? And so this idea I was just doing that to myself, and I was like 22, 23, something like that. I couldn't imagine that right now. I had a bad night's sleep, and I woke up and I was like, fuck, this feels like a hangover.
You got soft, son. You got soft.
I had to take a nap, Jerry.
You're on death's door, and now you're like, man, I only got 5 hours of sleep last night. I don't know if I'm gonna make it through the day.
Basically, I didn't make it through the day. I was it's 11 o'clock, and I should probably just lay down for an hour.
It's me being soft, though, in a way. I love that. Like, I'll sleep 3.5, 4 hours, bad night, and I'll be like, man, I can't run tomorrow. I'm gonna be too tired to run. Do you know what I'm saying? I love it. But yeah.
But the suffering, the pain that I caused myself for so many years, and then outwardly to everybody else, I was doing it for a reason. There was some reason that I needed to. I mean, I just wanted to feel good, and I didn't know how, and I didn't have those tools. We talked about other tools, and I go, one of the other tools is, I think, just being able to check in with myself, to know myself a little bit better, and to say, oh, yeah. So if I'm tired, I need sleep. If I'm cranky, maybe I need to eat something. Maybe, I need to remember to drink enough water. Like, these seem like stupid things, but when we were in the throes of alcoholism, I didn't think about water. I didn't even think about food. I remember some Sunday mornings, first thing I would do is crack a beer, because, beer's not really drinking, man. It's just like a little,
beer's not drinking.
Beer's not drinking. It's only 8 a.m. and I just want to feel better.
It's like eating a piece of bread, man. You already got the bread. It's bread that makes you drunk. I remember saying that to you a few times. It's like eating bread that makes you drunk, Johnny. Let's get some Guinness. It's like eating a whole loaf of bread.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that this is something too, that when I feel sad, when I feel, and all the suffering's going on in my head these days, because like there's a lot of bad shit outwardly, right? We're in the middle of the pandemic. There's like some fucked up political shit going on. There is
unrest, political unrest,
civil unrest. Like the unrest is getting to the point where it's fairly regularly explosive, right? And that weighs heavy on me in some ways.
Me too.
All the time. Right? There's been this whole year has taken the general anxiety and light depression that I have lived with, and has made it more apparent to me, right? It's put it there. And so things like this is one that I struggled with is, my ankles were hurting, so I wasn't running as much. And then I got really scared to go outside and go to the store, because I was like, I don't want to catch the fucking virus. So I started buying other things to have in the house, and I started like cooking with oil again. And so I've gained I think about 15 pounds, which
15, huh?
I think so. I mean, at
And
my
you never
lowest,
weigh yourself though. That's the
that's
thing.
true.
You got to start weighing yourself.
So
But you don't got to do anything. Do whatever you want to do.
but
But
I hear you. To know how much I weigh, I need to weigh
just to
myself.
monitor it, But
But
whatever.
so I've kind of gotten into some bad eating habits. Basically, is
Mhm.
what I'm saying. Things that don't make me feel great. But in the moment, it's this sort of like I need to feel good right now, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
that
I've had
alcoholic
those.
behavior.
That's funny. That's
So
peculiar. That I relate. I absolutely relate. Yes.
so maybe it's peanuts and golden raisins instead of fucking
Mine is
uh,
cookies. Like the whole election thing, I made cookies and ate a shitload of cookies because I'm like, well, I earned this. I'm going through stress. Everybody else is getting fucking loaded right now because everything sucks and this election is crazy. I'm gonna eat 3 fucking cookies today.
yeah.
I'm gonna do fucking like 500 calories in cookies today. Fuck.
Yeah. And before I think I was just kind of staving off that overeating, or that, I don't want to say it's an eating disorder, but it's definitely
It's
disordered
like your
eating.
unhealthy coping mechanism.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I was running enough where it I would burn it off, but then
Yeah.
whatever was happening with my ankles, and I was like, fuck, dude, like there's something's actually happening. This is not just me complaining or whining or not being tough or whatever. But so one of the tools that I use is understanding that and being able to step outside my own head for a minute and assess, right? So would you
Mhm.
say that you're able to be more objective about your behavior, or are you still, do you get lost in the
That's a
in
great question.
do you
Here's
get
the
lost
thing.
in it?
I recognize I have great hindsight now. I do. I have wonderful hindsight. I have problems with impulse control as far as my anger is
Mm,
concerned. I flare up. I get furious. I flare up. As a matter of fact, I just had to talk with my wife the other day because she's like, "You're throwing shit too much and breaking things," and I'm like, had
what?
this moment was like, "Fuck, she's right." But it has only been 2 things, and one she didn't see me do. I had came in and admitted it. But the first one she saw me do and just walked it on in stride. And so I not throwing like glasses across the room. It was like a meat thermometer, a digital meat thermometer we bought, and it was a piece of shit. We got it from Walmart, and it just didn't fucking work. It was faulty. It's the 3rd meat thermometer I've bought that's been faulty. And I was trying to take the temperature of this chicken, and she was like, "I don't want to get fucking salmonella, so I'm taking the temperature of this chicken. It's not working. It's not working. It's not working." I just impulsively just winged it into the wall across, which is fucked up. I shouldn't have done that, right? That puts everybody on edge. It's mildly abusive on my end. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna fucking explode, right? And so she just kind of took it in stride. Like, I'm like, and I looked at her, I'm like, well, I just threw that, didn't I? And she's like, yeah, you did just throw that, Jerry. Is it broken? I'm like, yeah, that thing is fucked. It was a piece of shit anyway, and I threw it away.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was in the garage in the cold painting, trying to finish this commission painting. It's very cold. It's like 40 some degrees in the garage. And I was on an office chair because I like to sit when I paint. And I like rolled back to look at this painting, and I leaned forward in the chair, and I put too much weight in the chair and fell on my face. The whole chair like fucking tipped. And I stuck my arms out and banged my head on the floor. It was like just impulsively picked the chair up and threw it across the garage and like shattered one of the wheels on it. And then I immediately felt poisoned. I was like, oh man. And so I came in and I'm like, I got to order new wheels for my chair on Amazon. And she's like, why? And I'm like, because I threw it across the garage. And I had this fucking chingazo on my head, a big mark. She's like, did you hit yourself in the head with the chair? And I'm like, no, dude. And she's like, I explained the situation. She's like, Jerry, she like just kind of put her head in her hands and like looked at me, and she's like, you need to fucking calm down. You've been throwing a lot of shit lately. And I was like, had this moment where in hindsight, I was like, she's right. I've been exploding on everybody lately. Because of what's going on around me. Like my internal temp is varying wildly, but I'm able to recognize it now. And I would really, as far as impatience is concerned, I'd really like to get to the point where I can check it before I do it. Because I'm really sick of being at the point where I can look back and be like, that was wrong. I shouldn't have snapped at my kid for doing whatever she did, or I shouldn't have fucking flashed on my wife for doing whatever she did. Like, now I recognize when I do that immediately, like in the moment. So I'm trying to get to the point now where I can catch it before it happens. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like It snaps so quick, man. And all the
Yeah.
pressure, everything. I'm feeling a lot of pressure right now in the world. So I guess the tool I'm working on right now, and I think a lot of alcoholics too have issues. I'm going to assume that other alcoholics have issues with impulse control, right?
I think it's a good assumption.
The tool I'm trying to figure out is to the switch that'll click me off of the impulse before I go through with being overwhelmed by anger, because
Right.
I'm almost there. Like the minute I do it now, I'm like, don't do it, and it's already been done. So now, like, I just gotta move that moment of don't do it back a millisecond, and I think I'll figured it all out, and then I'll write a book about it. Y'all can buy it. Ooh,
Yes.
$1 million idea.
$1 million idea, the switch. Yeah. So what's the thing? What's the I mean, they say stuff like for every year you're sober, you get a second to pause.
And I have been getting that pause. It just comes after the event. So now I need to slide the pause over to before the event. But every year it kind of clicks over more and more. Whereas now I find myself doing these things. And it's really funny because it's only been happening within the last like 60 days.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it has a lot to do with external forces and the way I'm internally processing these external things that are happening, right? Life and the big steaming plate of reality,
Mm-hmm.
And so that I've been getting lots of those lately. And so I think over time, that's that pause, right? That seems to be the cliche. I hear that in the meetings all the time too. I like the cliche though, but they say every year, yeah, you gain an extra second of time to consider your actions, correct?
So when the meat thermometer doesn't work,
I just put it back in the drawer and be like, this is a piece of garbage. We need to buy a new one.
I think too, what I would suggest with the chicken is follow whatever recipe, and then just trust it. Just trust that it's going to be cooked all the way through. If you cut through to the breast and it's still pink inside, you can throw it back in the oven.
But you got to get that. This is where we're going to go right now for a second. But it's that fine line between perfect and just eating
Dry.
fucking bouillon. Yeah. And I've been doing a lot of bone-in chicken, like, like drumsticks and shit. And so I was cooking that day. And that's deceptive because the closer the meat is to the bone, it'll bleed. You know what I mean? It'll be really pink even though it's done. Which dark meat always reminds me of Coda. Like, because Coda fucking hates dark meat. And I would go to KFC and get.
I remember this. I was there.
Chicken wings. I love drumsticks, and I'd get a bunch of drumsticks, and he'd be like, "I don't fucking like dark meat. What the fuck?" And get all pissed off at me for doing him a favor. I'd be like, you know what? I'll eat all this chicken, you dick. Fuck you. Enjoy the mashed potatoes and the gravy. Every time I think of chicken, I just always think of Coda and his hate for dark meat. Yeah.
I hate dark meat. I don't like dark meat.
What the fuck, Wagner? Like
he didn't even get chicken for him. You just brought it home on your own.
I brought it home for myself, and he was like picking off my plate. Like, I enjoy a drumstick, dude.
So yeah, I think finding that pause is important. and I think you, from what I understand, you deal with anger more. I don't deal with anger as much. I think I deal more with sort of sadness.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so mine is more what will make me feel happy in the moment. And I've kind of attached the feeling of happiness to my taste buds.
Yes.
And like high fat, high sugar, constant shoveling, and I try not to, I really try to think about things like there are no bad foods. Don't put judgment on the food, just like I don't with alcohol, right? I don't say alcohol is just an inert thing. So a Twinkie is just an inert thing. A cookie is just an inert thing. It's my relationship with the alcohol. It's my relationship with the cookie. It's my relationship with the bag of peanuts. It's my relationship with any of these things that, although I have lowered the level of toxicity on some of these foods, like I don't bring Ben and Jerry's into the house anymore. I don't go to 7-Eleven after work and buy 7 candy bars because I'm going to eat 2, but I might want 3. And then I don't want to have to make that trip back because I feel so ashamed that I bought 7 candy bars. You're such a drunk.
It's so fucking funny. Your relationship with food, man. It's like so fucking funny to me. Yeah, because you are such a drunk with food. It's really fucking like textbook. It's great. I mean, it's not great. It's, you know what's great is that you recognize it now, though, and you're like, okay, well, I'm gonna have to go on a little Ben and Jerry's hiatus because I might go on a bender there. Fucking eating 5 ice cream drumsticks, that I've stashed under a mini fridge under my bed, or
Well, yeah, because I don't want to go out into the freezer because, if my roommates are home, they're going to hear me go. Because I used to do it where I'd get ice cream sandwiches so I could just have one. But then I would ultimately eat 2 and or 3. And they come 6 in a box, right?
Right. Yeah.
And so, like, I just can't do that shit anymore. And so it's, okay, John, so what are you going to bring in the house? And, one of the cool things that I found is frozen grapes. Have you done this yet?
Yeah. I just have switched back to normal ice cream, John.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean,
no, frozen grapes are great. I remember putting frozen grapes in white wine as well, though, which is funny to make it
right?
cold.
To keep it cold but not water it down. So that's just me. And there's a book that I'm gonna pick up called Eat to Run. And it's by a guy named Scott Jurek, who's one of these super duper ultra runner dudes.
Right.
And mostly I just want to kind of try and develop my relationship with food a little bit better. I mean, even on the good days, yesterday, I had a little breakfast and a smoothie, which I was like, I don't know why I did that, but I do know why, because I wanted the fucking peanut butter smoothie and I wanted, some hard boiled eggs or whatever it was, or poached eggs. And so, but I don't usually do both. It was like, just do one or the other. And then I got to work. And the thing about work is, so I take my break and I get to eat my lunch, right? And I usually bring a salad and a sweet potato and an avocado. And there's usually an apple, banana, orange, something in there. It's all relatively healthy. But I've been making too much. And so I ate right before I went to work. So then when it's break time, I'm gonna get to a point here, I promise.
No, I am
not for you, but I'm just hearing myself kind of ramble. But so I eat the whole thing, and it's a pretty big portion, and now I'm fucking full and I'm bloated, and I don't know if it was the vinaigrette I made or the onions or the peppers, but I'm all fucking gassy, and I feel full and I feel fat, and it's cold outside, and I'm bundle. Oh yes, I got very gassy.
But I fart, so it's garlic.
So it was just, I felt
that long pause after soda garlic. You're like, okay.
But it was just, I felt really gross and shitty. And I was like, John, do you want to feel like this tomorrow? And I was like, no. So what are you going to do about it? And I said to myself, you need to think about the portion control. And here's this old feeling. Because I work in the restaurant business, I'm always like, I'm going to have to go the next 6 hours without food, which is yeah, whatever, dude. You can do that. Just because I can't go reach into, I work in a restaurant, I bet I could probably find a snack, right?
Right.
If I really was starving, which I'm not.
Right.
But
especially
so it's
something high in protein that'll float you,
Mm-hmm. So eat as much as you can, John, because you're going to have to be going. And so there's also the thing of being around all this delicious food and serving it to people and not being able to eat it. And there's some psychology there that I deal with about oh man, wouldn't I love to sit down and have fucking pizza and steak? But I don't eat that shit. Right.
Right.
So now's the day that's the next day and I can make a better decision. And I mean, I try to find some sort of learning moment in there.
That's the tool, right? The learning moment that you learned, just like me throwing a meat thermometer and having to get new wheels for a fucking office chair. I learned. So hopefully you'll get that second of pause before you're better not have 2 tablespoons of peanut butter today, which
is ridiculous, right?
But it's what is acceptable to you, right? Because I can give you shit, but that is totally unacceptable to you. In your life, you're dude, I can't fuck with this because I know, you can't turn your leg that way. Mm-hmm. As far as your relationship with food, because you know that for you, it's not just 1 tablespoon of peanut butter. It takes a whole left turn and goes to another place because now it has gone from being fuel to indulgence. And so now you can indulge,
It's not even real peanut butter. It's powdered peanut butter, dude.
Yeah, I don't know what your calorie allotment is,
I also have
out 15 pounds if you're eating powdered peanut butter and 2 hard-boiled eggs is 170 calories. I don't know what that smoothie looks like that you're
no,
whoa.
It's not the it's not that bad. I mean, I make my own oat milk now, which I think oat milk is a little bit higher in calories than almond milk, but no.
It's like twice as many calories as almond milk.
Yeah.
Oat milk is. Yeah, it's like drinking whole milk, calorie wise. It's
So
like 140 calories for eight ounce. I fucking memorize all this shit. Just like your compulsiveness with the way you eat, I have a compulsiveness with the way I eat too. In that I calculate constantly. I need control.
and I broke down. Yeah.
Yes, your relationship with food sounds like you're about losing control at times. You know what I mean? The thing that troubles you about it is like you're losing control. And the thing that sometimes troubles me about it is that I have to be in constant control of it and monitor constantly.
Yeah.
Oh, we're a mess, dude.
I know. Well, it's just because I remember the day when I was like, I'm so fucking fed up. I could probably go look at it. It's all in like a calorie counting app. I was like, I'm so fucking fed up with this. I had to count every tomato and quarter of a cucumber. And I'm like trying to put this fucking salad together. And I'm like, this is bullshit. And it's different every day, you know, and the doctor says you got to eat different vegetables every day. So it can't be the same salad. And I'm sick of the same fucking thing every day. And I was like, I'm just not doing it. I'm fucking done. And that was around the time where little by little things crept back in that I was not allowing myself before.
Your doctor told you to eat different vegetables every day, or like
No,
Dr.
no.
Oz?
It wasn't Dr. Oz. It was like Dr. Guts or something like that.
I eat the same shit every day. I have the same smoothie every day, and I know it's about 300 to 400 calories. And then I'll eat an egg every once in a while to get the protein up. I put chia seeds in the smoothie. But like I eat almost the same thing every single day. It's a trip. Yeah, I eat the same vegetables every day.
Well, the idea is that your gut.
I shit good, dog. I shit good.
Well, I'm not, I don't know. I just the idea is that your gut biome diversity is important.
You gotta diversify your guts.
Exactly. So like little bok choy, a little this, a little that, and so I was mixing it up. So I was bringing different stuff in. You're not into that?
No, I love it. I said I love bok choy. What's the other one? The Korean cabbage.
Icon?
No, the one that they
kimchi.
Pickle. Kimchi. I love kimchi. How did I forget kimchi? See, this is what's happening, man. This podcast, I'm slowly going crazy. I'm losing it.
And you know, my relationship with food is going to be like, it's going to be a whole series. We could do several episodes about it.
Gluten is not your problem. The reboot of gluten is not your problem.
It's just me discussing my food issues.
Right, because Walter's quit at this point. He's like, I don't want to do this podcast anymore. I've got inventions to make.
Right. So what do I do? And I don't know what I do. I continue to reassess and course correct and try something else. And then, you know, the physical pain, like yesterday, something fucking shot up in my ankle and I was like, I was outside and I was like, I can't run. So I had to walk home. And then today I was like, ow, 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 ow. And, you know, it's gotten better. I've kind of walked it off here and kind of stretched it out, but I can't go out there today.
I wonder if you have arthritis, dude.
And that would be fucking terrifying because
not really, because you would just have to take like fish oil pills and there's another thing for your joints that you can take. It would be terrifying, but also it's manageable. At least you know. No, my brother-in-law takes it. It's something else. There's somebody sitting at their house right now cutting carrots, being like, "It's fucking horny goat weed" or whatever. But anyway, I don't know. Don't listen to me, dude. I throw meat thermometers in chairs.
Right.
Yeah, yell at the TV, you know.
So, but I'm also one of the things. A lot of the undue suffering that I cause myself is highlighting my failures on a regular basis rather than my achievements. You know, I made a promise to myself this month that like I'm going to do 30 minutes of reading, I'm going to do 30 minutes of writing, I'm going to do 30 minutes of running, regardless. And then I couldn't do it yesterday, and I was able to get out there for a walk. And then today it's like I don't even want to fucking chance it because I don't want to hurt myself, and I got to work tonight. So if I'm going to be on my feet, you know, so I don't need to feel devastated because I didn't complete my goal or my commitment or something like that. If I'm actually in pain, it's not an excuse.
Well, so you got to make compromises with yourself, dude. You make compromises with everybody around you constantly. Like you got to forgive yourself a little bit and make a compromise. You're getting older. You're in your mid-40s. Circumstances change.
Yeah.
Shit hurts
Tell me
more
about
than
it.
it used to. I know, dude. I'm
Yeah.
there. Like, and you know, I've noticed with my experience when I do fuck things up, I have to I have to ask for forgiveness, try not to do the thing again, and then forgive myself. Like I'm in the same boat. Like every time I run, I'm like, I'm only gonna do 3, and then I end up doing 5. You know, and then Megan's like, why do you always do 5? And I'm like, because there's this internal thing in me that makes me do the 5 because I don't want to go back to where I was before, which ties into my whole relationship with my alcoholism. I don't want to go back to where I was before. Same with weight gain. And I imagine you're the same way. It's like we're both white knuckling this fucking thing of trying to just maintain our health, you know, but we're learning along the way because I don't think there's probably a support group we could go to.
Yeah.
And then we'll do a podcast about that. Then I'll just be committed to another podcast.
Well, speaking of podcasts
shit.
and commitments, we will be on one. We're recording it in a few days, not a couple of days, in a few days, next week. And we're going to be on the VHS podcast again. Those of you who don't know, VHS, Dirk Marshall, he takes old horror movies, usually horror movies, and relates them to the profession in the movie, kind of. And so we did Dr. Sleep because it was about alcoholism. It was about an alcoholic. And so he had us on, and we're going to do another one. I'm not sure what the movie is. He sent me the link, but
it's called Phil the Alien. Is it VH.us? No, it's just all caps. VH.us.
US. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and Dirk's a good guy. We've known him for years.
Right.
Yeah.
So definitely
and the movie
check
is
that.
Phil the Alien.
Phil, like Philip?
Like Philip. I believe that's what it was. Yeah.
Okay. Phil the Alien.
Unless I'm watching the wrong fucking movie.
That would be even better.
That'd be even better. Yeah.
So yeah, man. I mean, for me, the suffering that I go through is all of my own making these days, because I was sitting with a friend and I was telling him, you know, I was lamenting this or that. And he's like, John, you've really got it pretty good right here. You know, if your worst moment of your day is that you're feeling a little low because you had to go to work and talk to people about Brussels sprouts and you don't want to do that day, like, you're doing okay, man. And like, I need that reminder because life's not perfect, and you know, I'm not going to get everything I want every single day, and I should be grateful in the middle of a pandemic that I'm healthy and that I have an income, you know, because the guy I was talking to was unemployed, and you know, he's got his unemployment check, but that's not much. That's very little, in fact. And so it was cool. It was nice of him to listen to me. Right. And then it was great to hear, like, you know what, John, you're doing fine. Yeah. You're really, 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 really doing okay.
That's a tool right there. You got handed a tool by an angel.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Maybe the tool is, maybe when it's going bad, maybe I should sit down and think, well, what's going good? Mm-hmm. What's going for me right now? Everything else is fucked up. It's a pandemic and all this president, all the shit, right? All the negative shit you can think of that's outside of my sphere. Maybe that's the tool I need. Like, what is going good right now? Like, I got a Steely Dan shirt. I love it. I'm stoked on that. Do you know what I mean? Like, maybe that's the thing we need to sit down and look at and be like, yo, my hair looks good today, or yo, my fucking wiener's dope, or
well, sure, if that's whatever makes you feel good.
Held up, or like, yo, my band is pretty good. Like, maybe that's what we need to look at. Clarity of mind, you know, because in a moment you get caught up in the fucking storm. We both do, you know. It's in the moment it's hard to think about what's going well.
Yeah, and it comes up again and again because it's true, and it's sometimes, you know, just remember what you're grateful for. You know, people talk about gratitude lists, and I've even gotten into situations where I'm resentful that I have to be grateful for the things I have. And I'm like, whoa, dude.
No,
like, oh, why can't I just have everything now already? And I'm like, who the fuck is that guy? Because I don't really like that guy.
That's that drunk fucker.
Right?
From the back of the bus, he keep running up. He's like, yo, get fucking 5 Choco Tacos. You never know when you're going to run out. And you're like, you're right, drunk guy. I do it all the time.
Oh man,
mine is like, yo, throw this fucking paintbrush across the garage. I'm like, you're right, drunk guy.
Yeah. So there's this drunk guy that's still in the back of the bus, and he's still
Will never
screaming
go
at
away.
me.
Never go away.
And I have to really be. I have to be vigilant about how much I listen to him.
He's got bad fucking ideas. Some of them, they used to be fun ideas back in the day, and some of them are still kind of fun, but
They don't work anymore.
mostly
Not in the
bad. They
same
don't
way,
work.
right? They
Exactly,
don't
right.
work. I
You're like,
keep
this
trying. Yeah.
awful idea. You're fucking silly. That's silly shit. What you're suggesting. Yeah.
And it just doesn't work anymore. And so, like, that's
I don't think it worked before either, though. We just told
No, it
ourselves it's working. Really
It
great,
didn't.
which is D is for denial, right? I mean, the
D is
denial
for
we're in.
denial.
Everything's fine while the room burns,
And I think so. It worked for a minute. Like, I think it worked
has
because that's what hooks you.
The first
You're
one's
like,
free.
It hooks you. And so you're like, oh, this is great. I found the solution to all my problems. I don't have to think about them. Boom. So, I mean, my suffering, again, that's what I wrote about this morning, was just, okay, what are you suffering from, John? That you have some disordered eating, and you maybe are not in love with your job. And again, the other thing, everything that I have ever changed for the better in my life has come from my own head. Not like I did it all myself, but
Right.
I had to push myself to do it. I had to change my mind. I had to make the decision. I had to make the decision to quit drinking. I had to make the decision to lose weight. I had to make the decision. I have to make the decision to be happy. And it frustrates me that the drunk guy in the back of the bus is like, I don't want to change my mindset. Just give me what I want.
Yeah, it's too hard to do it the other way.
It's too hard.
How much weight did you lose initially? Like
70 or 80 pounds.
So you lost, let's say, about 70, because you don't ever weigh
did.
yourself. So you're just like, you just lick your finger and hold it up to the wind, and you're like 80 pounds.
I lost
anyway,
about 75 pounds, something like that. Yeah,
so
sure.
You're assuming you gained back about 10 to 15.
I think so.
But still, John, you're still up. You're still up. You still have lost like 60 some fucking pounds. Like, you're still up.
That's insane, right?
Don't go higher than 15, but you're still up.
Yeah, no. So I'm already reassessing, like, what I'm going to bring for lunch and how I'm going to feed myself today, and really, really, really look at these things. And maybe there needs to be some, just because I don't want to count every calorie doesn't mean that I can't have a little more portion control.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Because if you're gaining that much in a few months, you're going way over your daily intake. Do you know what I mean? As far as portion goes, like you're not burning, and also the lack of exercise. But I imagine you're the kind of guy who works out every day, right? You work out every single day.
If I can every single day, I'll do something.
Yeah.
And
I work out 5 days a week. That's it. I take 2 off, dude. And I just think it must be it's just your relationship with it. And what brings you joy, what makes you feel comfort, and the same with alcohol. The funny thing with alcohol, though, is like with food, it's unacceptable to you. It doesn't necessarily reflect, affect your outer sphere. But with alcohol, it like reverberates out and hits everybody. Do you know what I mean? Like your personal choices fuck over everybody. But like you sitting there being like, yo, I'm going to eat a whole bag of fucking peanuts. You know what I mean? It's not like those things affect you personally, and what's acceptable for you works for you,
Right.
Yeah.
So
not that, and I'm not trying to minimize it. I'm just pointing out, I guess I'm looking at the differences in our relationship to substances that make us feel good. You know what I mean?
Drugs and alcohol.
Drugs, alcohol, and food, and whacking off or whatever it is, running,
Yeah.
and working out. I fucking fucked my lower back up doing my last, hurt my lower back doing my last weightlifting routine on Friday. So I didn't get to finish it because I hurt my lower back. And I was like, I still need to burn like 200 more fucking calories. So I had to go for a walk. So I had to go up and walk around the graveyard. But I was bummed the whole time because I wanted to be lifting weights. I was like looking forward to it, having fun, and just fuck my lower back up. Like just seized it right up and was like, damn, dude, this back's really been troubling me. But that's compromise, right? Like I still want to achieve my goal. I just got to find a different way to achieve it,
You found some compromise. You're not gonna, you can't, again, I don't think that you can focus on the failure. If you can
No.
even call, you hurt yourself. It was an injury. It
Right,
wasn't
I
even.
can't stop. Yeah, I can't just keep fucking doing fucking Arnold presses.
Mhm.
Yeah. Fuck my back up. It'll make them worse, you know?
So I'm really, really, really trying to just not focus on those failures and to
Yeah.
look at how far I've come, and that there's no, and maybe there should be a goal, and maybe that's one thing that hasn't motivated me in a way that I did when I lost the weight before, when I was like, I'm gonna go run that race.
Mm-hmm.
And that really motivated me.
Maybe that there should be. Because why do you run now? You run now to lose weight, but does it feel, are you happy when you run? Does it feel good to run? Like, do you feel
Some
like,
days.
yeah, right?
Some
Right?
days.
I hate running and love it. And there's always a moment in that hour when I run where I feel like this is what I'm meant to be doing. Like my body is doing what it's supposed to be doing. And it may be like 2 minutes. That Macklemore song may just hit. And I'm like, this is it, dude. You know what I'm saying? But like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's the goal, is to achieve that feeling. Because I always thought the runner's high thing was bullshit until I got my first good one, and I was like, wow, this is a profound ass runner's high. Like this one feels good. Like maybe, I don't know. Maybe you do need a goal. Maybe you need to. Are they even doing pandemic marathons right now?
I mean, there's some, but I'm not interested in like doing a virtual this, that, or the other.
Right. Get yourself one of those things called a fucking, anyway. That weird fucking bicycle that they had the commercial for, that everybody
Peloton.
Yeah, they do like virtual races and shit.
Dude, I know somebody who has one and they absolutely love it. And there's because you're having someone who's yelling at you and motivating you and being in contact with somebody who's like, go, 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 go. It really does help.
Right.
I'm not interested in that.
No,
but
me either.
so yeah, and you know, the pandemic is part of that. And there have actually been some actual external forces that have led to things, but I can readjust and I can course correct and I can move forward so that I don't have to allow these things to let me slip back into old habits that I don't like. Because what's the original? The what?
I said slip back into undue pain.
Undue pain, undue suffering, right?
What's the original what?
And alcohol. I mean, we can go deeper, but you know, the one that we're focusing on today, the original pain is alcohol. The original slip is alcohol, and the original, problem that I was allowing to overtake and control my entire life was alcohol. And I don't ever want to be there, you know. And I think I had a moment in the last couple of weeks, and I don't remember if I was doing anything in particular. I was just feeling kind of listless, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, what's it all for? What the fuck? What is this all for? Like, what am I fucking doing here, man? Like, what's the point? Like, why don't I just? And I didn't do anything with that. You know, I didn't go drink, and I didn't eat a bunch of weird shit. I didn't, whatever. But like, now that you say it, that voice is not me. That voice is just the drunk in the back of the bus.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So like, what's it all for? Like,
Mm-hmm.
what do you want it to be all for? That's, figure it out, John.
Yeah.
So I just it was a moment, and then it passed. But like, in that moment, the what's it all for was followed by, and what I didn't even like visualize was, fuck it, just go have a drink.
Yeah. That's easy to do though, right? I mean, it is easy and hard. Yeah, but that's exactly, you didn't do that. And for people like us, it is easy and hard. Isn't that the funny part? Is the action itself is very simple, but everything that leads up to the action is like very difficult. The action of drinking, I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could just go drink right now. There's a fucking bar right there. I just go over there and be like, put fucking Stroke It on the fucking jukebox and fuck my life all up, you know?
You could, you know? And it's one of the things too in the meeting, they were talking about relapses, and somebody had 2 different sobriety dates. They said, I had this one and then I had this one. And one of the best things that I've heard about relapses is one guy said, you know what, man, we don't need to know why you drink. We all know why. We get it. Yeah, we're just glad that you're back. You know, we're just glad that you're back. So I don't think that even if somebody's listening and they don't drink, or maybe they went back and they had a drink, or they're thinking about it, or you're thinking, well, I can't get sober. I already had a drink today. And it's like, well, you can. I mean, if you want.
Yeah.
You know? And so one thing another tool that I think worked for both of us, and I want to, because I want to end the show here in a bit, and I've got, was we did an episode like a couple seasons back, like a year or so ago, where we wrote letters to alcohol. We wrote our goodbye letters to alcohol.
Yeah, it was a
breakup letter.
Yeah.
And a couple weeks ago, I got an email from Vincent, from Vinny, and he's a musician, and he was really he was overjoyed with that episode, and he listened to it and he said, it was really powerful and really helpful, because you and I both got emotional. We got very emotional.
It's a fucking hard one. I always think about that one. Yeah.
And it was one of the ones that I remember the most out of all the ones that we've done. And so he wrote a song as his goodbye letter.
You gonna edit that in at the end of the episode?
So yeah. So I mean, but I want to, I think that's a good tool, and I think for anybody who wants to try something different, to sit down and just write a note and say goodbye. Now, granted, we've all had breakups, we get back together, people, whatever. But it was really helpful to me.
Me too. It really was. I still have it too. I didn't throw it away because it's in a moleskin book, that I have. It's a really nice moleskin I got for Christmas that I do all my movie notes in, actually. But I think that's a really positive thing, is to be able to finalize it, say goodbye to it,
Yeah.
But yeah, and also sorry for throwing you under the bus there, being like, yo, you're going to edit that in at the end of the episode. And you're like, yeah, thanks for giving me more work. And now you're still fucking talking about it. Shut up, Jerry.
This is what we do. It wouldn't be, Jerry, this wouldn't be as much fun with anybody else.
That fucking song was really good, man. It touched me. I teared up. And then my daughter was like kind of laying in bed with me because it was right at night before we were going to sleep. And she was like hanging out with the cat, and she's like, that's really good. And I'm like, I know it is, huh? And she's like, yeah, is that on Spotify? That sounds like a musician, like a real musician I listen to on Spotify, And I was like, I don't know if this person's on Spotify, but this is an email they sent for the podcast. And my daughter's like, wow. She was just so impressed. Yeah. Mind you, she's 40, but
yeah.
Sorry, that joke is insane. Like 10. She's like 10, discovered music, like loves music. Good kid.
So yeah, I just wanted to leave this. Vinny G sent this to us. And one of my thing in the email, he says, I just got to give you one more disclaimer. It's with my band that got our name pre my sobriety. We go by the 30 mgs, which I think is 30 milligrams. Now, I'm not sure what that's referencing, but that's the name of the band, and the song is called Mirror Image. So we'll just leave you with that.
My perception's twisted. I miss the veil you lifted. Blinded by your little lies, you prove the point you're missing. I couldn't see that it was just a dream, now become but a memory. I think I'd rather stay behind than try to find the truth in life. Cause at least before there were open doors, and there was so much more than just an even score in this stupid fight. Wrong and right doesn't make much sense inside my mind, cause my grip on life diffused when you drew up an illusion. I was clueless and looked stupid. You used me and now I'm useless. But at least back then it hurt less, when I thought you weren't heartless, when I didn't know how hard it gets. Thought you were my only friend. Thought you loved me till the end. I guess that